Hi there. I'm Julie. You're Laura.
I'm Laura. So, welcome to the My Inner Struggle
I was going to
podcast.
do that next after we introduce us. Okay. Yeah. Hi, I'm Julie.
I'm Laura.
Well, welcome to the My Inner Struggle podcast. We are on episode 17.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not going to argue about it.
I was told it was 17 people.
This is 17. And we're really excited about the amount of listeners that we have following us now, and the awesome feedback that people are giving kind of everywhere I go, that they're listening and they really like the material. So
absolutely.
Really I'm really glad that it's like providing a useful service, valuable service to people. And that was the goal.
That was the goal. So, to just be able to do the more, right? That was our goal from the beginning, was to be the more. Yeah, absolutely.
So last week we talked about taking responsibility and owning up to your own stuff, right?
Yep.
So that was kind of huge.
That was a big one. Yeah.
And I think it speaks to a lot of people because, we all know that we have like this bullshit, that we do. And not everybody will admit it, but I mean, I still have some that I've got to work. I mean, we all always will.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Phase of life. But so that was there was really good response, from that podcast. And we actually we kind of recorded a second episode to follow up with that, but we didn't have the same like vibe going. So we're going to put that in the back burner and we'll revisit, especially when we have like more examples. Because when people like write in or respond, it kind of gives a different perspective, so that we can answer what you're looking for,
Yeah. So keep those comments coming, keep the reaching out coming. Let us know, if you're liking it, what you're liking, what you're not, what you want to hear, just keep it all coming.
So last night, both of our daughters graduated high school.
They did.
I actually did not cry. Did you cry?
I didn't. So funny story. So, as Claire was leaving for school yesterday morning, I took my final last picture of the year picture, and I gave her a hug because and she's a big fat jerk because she's like, Mom, this is the last time I'm ever gonna have a last day of school where you're here to watch me drive away. Like, why would you say that to me? So I gave her a big hug, and she's like, Are you crying? I was like, No, it's allergies in the morning. So no, I actually I think because it was warm, and I was like
preoccupied.
I was thinking about, just different things. And I think I purposely, my brain did that purposely so that I wouldn't cry,
Okay, so it was like 87 degrees.
Yeah.
And it was pretty crazy. I actually, not getting up to that point, in the last week, I'd be driving down the road, in the car by myself, randomly burst out into tears because I just think about, Emily and her sweet little face when she was little, and how can we be here? And I'm going to miss her, but I'm so excited at the same time. But it's, we were driving in the car the other day and Emily said, I don't know if it was the principal or the superintendent during like graduation practice, they were like, this graduation isn't really for you. It's for your parents.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And I thought it was kind of neat that they had us all stand up, the parents.
And made the students clap for us. I thought that was nice too. Yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
And no matter what, we're going to be there to like pick it up for them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's funny because my sister-in-law, Susan, came up from Florida. So she was here for the whole weekend, and her and Claire and I were talking yesterday. So it was before graduation yesterday, and we were talking, and she was saying how when she took my nieces, to college or whatever, she said she cried. And my brother, she's like, he didn't even know what to say to me. He didn't even talk to me. She's like, he took me home and we had happy hour, and then we went to the beach and so then Claire, we were talking about, taking her to college and whatever. And she's like, do you think you're going to cry? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to drive separate so that I can have a full on mom meltdown the entire hour and a half way home, because don't talk to me. I don't, no, we already said I don't like to be touched when I'm crying. So no, but yeah, so I'm going to be like, I'm going to cry the whole way home.
And you're not like a big crier.
I'm not a big crier, no. But then she's like, well, is Austin going to ride with you? Because, he's going to cry too. And I was like, no, he can cry with his dad. I'm like, I want to have my own cry fest. So I am definitely anticipating, and it was so nice to have Susan here because she kept saying to Claire, like, you need to make sure that you let your mom give you extra hugs this summer, and that, if she wants to go somewhere with you, you let her. She's like, because, you're leaving and you're going to be having like this whole brand new excitement and all of these new things that you've never experienced before. And, your life is changing. And she's like, but your mom's is changing too. And, she's going to be stuck here with all of now I would cry with all of like your stuff. And it was funny because Claire was like, oh yeah, my one friend, when they went off, she's like, the mom closed the door. She wouldn't even open the door for like 2 weeks. And I was like, well, I'm going to sleep in her bed. Yeah, her bed is so cozy. So I was like, oh, well, I'll just sleep in your bed so that I can be reminded. She is, yeah, she really has a fantastic sense of that. Well, and you should see her Amazon dorm, like her dorm room Amazon gift. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Especially like for college.
Well, it's funny because the bottom and like the top half is all like bedding and decorations and stuff, and then the bottom half all cleaning supplies. And it's like cleaning supplies and a Swiffer and a mop, and yeah, you know her.
So, we talked about all of this, and there's so many topics that we can talk about that relate to so many like areas of life, right? So no matter where you are in your journey, it's relatable. And last night was interesting for me, like on a personal level, not just graduation, but it was the first time that I was seeing my ex-in-laws since I've been on my own, basically.
Yeah.
So in 5+ years. And I was really, at first it was kind of like nerve-wracking through like last week thinking about it a little bit. And then I kind of just focused on this situation, what was happening. And like, that was nerve-wracking in itself, right? Like, am I going to burst out into tears? Do I have enough tissues with me? I literally packed like 3 pocket packs of tissues.
I didn't bring a single tissue, so it's a really good thing. I didn't need any.
Well, we were melting anyway.
Yeah.
But I think in the end, I think I kind of didn't cry because I was surrounded, like you're jam packed in there together.
Yeah.
It was like there was no space to kind of like
feel your emotions.
So that was interesting in itself, and not what I expected, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know if it's good or bad exactly, but that was interesting. And so we were talking about what topic to talk about today, and navigating change is such a huge thing. Yeah. So we're both navigating change right now.
We are.
Our daughters are graduated and going off to college.
Yeah.
And then, getting ready for the next kind of phase in life, right? So, and we still have more kids that are going through school and will eventually graduate too, but everything like adjusts. Think about how your morning is going to be different.
So different.
Like,
well, the whole household to school. Yeah, that's going to, but the whole household is different. I mean, well, I mean, for you'll still have, 2 kids, but, for me, it's just going to be Austin.
Right.
And it's,
is he going to be like up your butt more?
Yeah.
Or is he going to be like, kind of following or getting into his own social circle?
Yeah. Yeah.
And kind of doing those things. But we talked about the graduation and the speeches and stuff like that. And there were some like really good points I felt.
Yeah.
Some, vice versa weren't our favorites or whatever. But there was good parts, I think, in one about, creating this new adventure and new mindset, new beginnings and all of that. And this is something that we talk about like all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
When you're navigating through change, it's hard, it's scary. And here they are embarking on this new journey, and we're excited for them.
Yeah.
Because we know like how much greatness is out there, but it's also going to be hard,
very hard. Yeah. Well, it's funny because when we were tossing back, like, what are we going to, talk about today? And then we said, let's talk about, navigating change or whatever. So the first quote, I was like, oh, it says, no matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change the world. And Robin Williams said that. And I love Robin Williams. Like, if you've like, hello from Mrs. Doubtfire, like, this I love him.
I sent you that.
He is just a mastermind. And that's so true. And like that, like if you can dream it, you can do it. Right. And but it's change, and you have to
be in that mindset.
Yeah. So I don't think I shared with you, when Claire had her FFA banquet, she did like a goodbye speech.
Okay.
And she was really anxious about it. And, she had to stand up in front of everybody. And I think it was like almost 7 minutes. So it was a pretty lengthy speech. But her whole speech was around the fact that she wanted to stay in her comfort zone, and she was so afraid. Like, she's like, I had friends from elementary school. Like, why did I need new friends? And she's like, and I knew what classes I liked. Why did I have to take an FFA class? You know what I mean? So, and her whole speech was about, getting out of your comfort zone and finding new things and new people and new places, and really like embracing the change that comes with that. And her speech was just, all of the kids, and I love when the kids do speeches because they're always so heartfelt. But, for me as her mom watching this, I was just like, oh, she's become this whole person, and then to your point, like I'm like this little chubby cheek kid. I'm like, where did that kid go?
I know, but sometimes when you look over at them, that's all you see.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So did she practice the speech with you beforehand?
She read through it the night before one time with me, but I did hear her in her room going through it with one of her friends, her friend Abby. Yeah.
So it's funny because Emily had to do a speech at
it's an art honors roll. Yeah.
Society. I didn't know that she was doing a speech. She's like, well, I wanted to surprise you. I couldn't believe it. I was so proud of her because, Emily hasn't been the one that's always been outgoing. She's always been shy. I mean, I wrote about it. I posted a blog on Sunday all about Emily, basically. And, from the time she was little until basically Matthew could participate in the party, she was on my leg the entire time. I remember being at these play places or whatever. I'm like, you're going to miss the whole thing.
Yeah.
Go have fun. And she'd be like, I don't want to. And then she'd warm up and there'd be like 20 minutes left of the party. And then she's like, I don't want to leave, So, and I've blogged about that before, like being late to the party.
Yeah.
Right? So whatever change is ahead, embrace it. Try it. We're going to fall down.
Yeah.
We're going to make mistakes.
It's going to be scary.
But those experiences are
worth it. Yeah. They're worth it.
They're what make it.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. So she leaves. I think, did we talk about
I don't know her move-in date yet. So, yeah.
It's not as early as I thought it would be.
Well, she's a PA school, so I'm thinking like they usually go back in August sometime. But I don't have her date yet.
I'm sure you're going to make a paper chain that you can. Or maybe you don't want to do that.
I don't want to even think about it.
I had this countdown for the end of school on the chalkboard that's going to there's a door that goes out to the garage.
Yeah.
That's where we, come and leave from. And so I had like the countdown from school on there because they were all just kind of like done. And actually it was really cute because like last night after graduation and everything, we went back to their dad's house and we had pizza and I bought an ice cream cake and everything. And then their grandparents were all here. So Evelyn and Matt wanted to stay at Ben's because their grandparents were staying there. And Emily's like, I have all my stuff at mom's. Do you mind if and Ben was like, oh, no, of course not. So she came home with me, which was neat. We both like basically crashed at that point. It was like 10:30.
Yeah.
And, she got up this morning and like cuddled in bed with me. So we got to spend like a couple hours together. We ate breakfast in my bed and watched The Office. Until I had to like get up and go, and that felt really special.
Yeah, that's nice.
Like, I love those moments.
Yeah,
and that's something that I don't think, when earlier in life, like, and when they're little, like I didn't cherish that as much as I feel like I should.
I think it's hard then because, and you have said this a lot, but at that point when like you have little kids and you're trying to figure it out, like you're in survival mode, right? You're just like you're trying to get from point A to point B with the least amount of things that can go wrong going wrong, And now that they can do almost everything for themselves, you get to experience what it's like to just hang out with them as people and not take care of them as children so much.
Right. And I think they appreciate it more.
I agree.
I think my kids do.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And especially, it was kind of funny because I just said this to somebody else, and it's like because they go back and forth to their dad's house and my house, like I don't have them all the time.
Yeah.
So I think they kind of appreciated me more when I wasn't, like when they're
absence makes the heart grow fonder kind of a thing. Yeah.
Like, and it's not, I mean, they love their dad and their dad is great, but like mom gives something different than dad does, or, whatever, and our relationships are different. But the fact that, she just like came and climbed in bed with me, and it was just like so sweet. And I just loved every moment. And then, yeah. And it's just so crazy.
I know.
It's so, yeah. So anyway, so going into, a change like that, like, college, obviously, or, as moms, right? We're evolving through each one of these phases that our kids are going through. And then we're going through navigating job changes and relationships and all of that. Adapting a more positive mindset is really helpful, because you don't want to go into anything like thinking a negative thought, right? And sometimes that's hard because, there's things that we don't want to do necessarily, obviously, like, I can't like think of anything that I absolutely don't want to do.
I don't want to join the circus.
You don't want to go to the circus?
No, I don't want to join it. I'll go to the circus. But really, I just go for the popcorn.
It was on like the list of to-dos for you.
You just said things you don't want to do. So that was the first thing that came to mind is I don't want to join the circus, and I don't want to be a deep sea diver because that scares me. No, I don't want to do those two things.
But let's think about your day, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, I don't especially love going to the grocery store, but there are other times that I do because I'm inspired to cook something new.
Yeah.
Or you're having a party and you're like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. And, you do the same thing I do. Like, we love feeding people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Trying good, delicious things and sharing them with the people that you love. So that can turn grocery shopping into kind of like an adventure.
An excitement. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But when you're like, it's going to be, it's like the week before Christmas, it's going to be crowded.
Yeah.
Dreading that. Think about those things in your life. And of course, if you're someone that is not of a positive mindset yet, and you're like really exploring, wanting to adopt that, you have to look for the good things in all of those tasks that you're doing all the time.
Yeah.
And
a good
mindset is everything.
It absolutely is. And a good way, like to your point about like Christmas shopping the week before, if you're really like struggling, that as you're talking, it came to me like a way to like, you can really think of one thing you're going to make that is a good memory for you as like either a kid growing up or something that your kids really love that you make, and be like, oh, well, I'm going to make this. And I know it's their favorite, or it was my favorite, or,
One of the things that like, because there's a lot of interaction now, like on the Facebook page, say. Like,
yeah.
So there are, so I post a daily mantra every day, and there are definitely people that are not of that positive mindset that will say like, oh, I don't have anything to be grateful for.
Yeah.
I can't. Or if you're struggling yourself to find something to be grateful for, I'm going to say, then I think it's time to look at what you're doing every day and who's in your life.
Yeah.
And, some people, like for years, I was kind of like, I'm alone. Well, I kept saying that.
And that's what you were hearing.
That's what I'm affirming to myself.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I've kind of switched it now a little bit. I don't repeat that all the time anymore, but there are times when it's evident that I am a soldier right now. And, but you think about like, you affirm the things that you want, essentially, right? Like, so one of my affirmations is that I am surrounded by love and abundance. And that's referring to the people in my life. And I am attracting more of that. Where was I going with this? Because I talked about
how to get positive.
People will kind of like jab back and be like, well, I don't have that. And you're talking about the lack. I definitely think that you should look at the relationships in your life and evaluate those. You helped me a great deal, like, when we reconnected and everything, to sort of finally seal the deal on some things. And that, I don't think I could have done that without you. And you stepped into my life at the right moment.
Thank you.
Don't cry. I know you're getting emotional. But
it's a hard couple months, people.
I know. So I would evaluate those relationships in your life. And if that doesn't, if you're really, really struggling to find something, or a relationship or something like that you're grateful for in your life, let's think about that and reevaluate. And then also, sometimes you have to dig a little bit deeper until you're into the habit.
Yeah.
So you're not recognizing the little things all the time. Right. So, finding something to be grateful for is really important. And you can't really be, I've said this before, you can't really be grateful and angry in the same breath.
No.
Right. So it's like sort of like you can't have those two emotions. And I mean, you can have those two emotions, but when you're verbalizing something,
Yeah. It's one or the other.
down, it's kind of one or the other.
Yeah.
So, the gratitude practice is really important in that, because then you're not festering on those things. I had, sorry, do you want
to? I will remember mine. You won't. So you go ahead and go first.
I did this, a few weeks ago, I did an event with a local charity here, Project Self-Sufficiency, for a large group of breast cancer survivors. And I did breakout sessions with the group, and that's what we did, was we focused on gratitude. And so nice. They had this basically, kind of like worksheet to kind of work through. And I was talking them through it about writing things that they're grateful for. And then, focusing on that gratitude practice. So I've had several clients that when we begin that gratitude practice, or they're journaling or whatever, and it can be kind of like a really negative run-on sentence of all the things that are going wrong in your life. And I had this one particular client that would come in every week, and it would always be like, he didn't do this, and I don't, I want more time, and da-da-da-da. But I said, these are good, and they're feelings, and they're valid. But I think you should follow up each one of them with something positive, because there are things in your relationship
that are positive. Yeah.
You're sort of overlooking with all these negative things. And I'm not saying that, relationships are complicated. So it's not like so cut and dry, but that's something that she can control. And that controls the way she feels then in the end, if you focus on the positive instead of the lack.
Yeah.
And not to say, obviously if you're in an unhealthy situation, that needs to be addressed.
Of course. Yeah.
If it's,
if you're just looking at the negative of something over and over and over again, that's all you're going to see. That's all you're going to see. You're right. So you need to flip it. But like to circle back to this episode about, change and whatever. I just saw today and I love it. And I don't remember if it was from Holland or from Sweden, but one of their responses when somebody says, "Oh, how are you today?" The response is, "Well, I'm up and not crying."
Oh,
and I was like,
that, didn't you?
I probably did, because I was like, oh my God, that is the best response ever. And that's like just their normal response. And I was like, that's such a good way. Like, oh, well, I'm like, my mother-in-law always says, I'm on this side of the dirt or whatever, like I'm up and not crying. Like I'm here. I'm,
as long as you're embodying that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. But I love that.
I have a male friend of mine that will say, like, good morning, I'm grateful for another day. But is he really grateful for another day? Because the rest of his life does not
indicate that that's how he's living it. Yeah.
Embody that practice. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to say that in the morning. But yesterday, I have to say, actually, was it yesterday or today? I can't even remember. I don't have my planner with me right here. But,
well, yesterday was graduation.
Yeah. Well, I know, but I can't remember what. Because, I use my planner every day.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was yesterday or today, but one of the things that I did in those breakout sessions was, not one of the things, but the theme for it was like being resilient.
Oh, okay.
So resilience is basically our drive to just keep going. You have to keep pushing, not give up. And so it was either yesterday or today, because, there's many hits that we get throughout the time. And I was telling you about like my car troubles and like all that kind of stuff. And I actually had, I think it was yesterday, was like the thing that I was grateful for was my resilience.
Oh.
Because, Beth pointed that out to me. She's like, Laura, you've had so much shit happen to you in the last like 2 years.
Yeah.
She's like,
you're still up and not crying.
Yeah. She's like, this is a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it. I'm like, I like cake.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is good. Yeah. And I actually I wasn't stressed out about it.
Right.
I said that when you got there. I wasn't stressed out about it because I know it's going to work out.
Yeah.
And 10 years ago, Laura, I would have been like biting my nails and angry because I didn't know what to do.
Right. Yeah.
So, navigating change through a positive and open mindset is really important.
I agree. I 100% agree. I did have a second quote. It says, change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future. And that was JFK. And, he's revered as one of, the greatest of our presidents. But I agree with that. Like people who are so stuck on the past stuff going wrong and the present, like stuff not happening right. they're missing the opportunity to plan a future, you know what I mean, or change their present so that their future is what they want, which we've talked about so much. Like, you have to manifest what it is you want, and you have to change the patterns and the behaviors that you're doing now that you're getting the same result over and over again to be what you want it to be.
There's a balance of looking back, because you need to look back sometimes to gain perspective.
Yeah.
But you don't want to
stay there. Yeah, right? Absolutely.
And there is a balance to looking forward, because you want to set goals,
right,
and move forward.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be, because they say, like, being anxious is what that is.
Yeah.
You're always anticipating what is next, right? So, and that was part of my problem too, was, you know, that's anxiety. That's what that is.
Yeah.
You're anticipating the next thing. And so there's a balance. And then being present.
Yeah. Right. Well, we've talked a lot about that, but I mean, I thought it was true. Like, those who are only in the past or present, they're missing out on, you know, and especially if it's a negative past or present, and then they're so focused on it, you know. But I mean, to change that, you know, and to embrace the change of that so that you're really living the life that you want to live, I think is, you know, almost everything we talk about.
Right. Finding your balance.
Yeah. So, which I think is important.
I do too.
Damn it.
That's great. So, well, I think this was good.
I do too. Yeah. No, it's good.
I wasn't sure if I was going to cry or not, but it was you. So
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it was a mist, not a full cry. Let's not get carried away. You know, it's funny because, you know, I'm focused so much on, like, how the next few months are going to impact Claire and myself. And, you know, and I always have to stop myself because, you know, her little brother has had her around his entire life. So she's moving on, she's making all these new friends and going all these places and having all these new experiences, but he's in the same spot. So for him and for Matt and Evelyn, it's going to be harder for them, I think, than for Emily and Claire, because they're getting to experience this whole new world, but they're a little lost. Yeah. So, you know, I think that for parents that have siblings that are still going to be home, like, you know, make sure you check on those little ones.
I have to ask you something. Have your kids been kind of, like,
nicer to each other? Yes.
Okay, so mine, I wouldn't say, like, nicer to each other, but Emily, and she's going to kill me if she ever watches this, but Emily has been kind of like, you know, I'm only here a few more months. We should act like a family. We should it's just between them three.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they'll argue over whatever, right?
Yeah.
And she says, you know, to Matthew, you know, I'm only going to be here 2 more months. So, you know, like, I'd like to spend time with you, but quality time. And why can't you move?
She's so cute. I know Claire had, like, we talked about it on the one podcast about how, like, they are just nasty because they know they're leaving and it's like a defense mechanism. Well, she and I just we're not seeing eye to eye on something. And she was practicing. She was. But I remember Austin and I were leaving somewhere. We were going out somewhere. So we were in the car, and I was just like, I was just like trying to decompress. And he's like, you know, Mom, she has a lot of stress right now. He's like, not that she should yell at you how she does, because that's not right. So he was like, but he was so like, yeah, he knows. He's like, but you know, you have to remember, she's going through these changes and she's going to be great. And he's like going on and on. And I was like, oh, okay. He is a little old man, but it was so cute. He was so desperately trying to defend her, but not make sure that I wasn't upset with him at the same time. But I feel like, and he's, you know, he's so sensitive, but I feel like when she leaves, he's going to have this whole, anyway, quick side note. So my sister-in-law and I
was saying 7 sentences.
I know, but we were talking about, like, do you have a family group chat, right?
Yes.
Okay. So see, we don't really have one because Jeremy is not Apple. He is Android, and we all make fun of him. So we don't have this family group chat, but well, we could, but we want to name it something. So Susan and my brother and my nieces, their family group chat is Beach Life, because they live at the beach. So the beach life, but you have to say, like, crazy. So I was like, oh, we should have a good one. And Claire was like, oh, we can't, you know, because we can't rename a group chat if somebody's not on the same devices. I guess, I don't know. She knows more about that than I do. But I was saying, well, we should have one before she goes away to school, just so, like, if you're out and you see something fun, you can take a picture and you're kind of all, you know, on the same thing. And so I really, like, that's one of my goals, is to make sure we have this family group chat. Yeah, but we can't rename it. So then I said to Jeremy, I was like, I guess you're not in the family. Sorry. I was like, well, hopefully Austin and I tell you what happens in our family group chat.
Mine's just because I created it, so it's my loves. And Evelyn keeps changing the picture though. Now it's an avocado.
Well, you do love
We
avocados.
do. Well, we're an avocado.
Oh, that's so funny.
So,
But
yeah. So we can wrap up.
yeah,
You ready to
absolutely.
Okay.
Wrap it up.
Thanks for tuning in to episode 17
Yep.
of My Inner Struggle podcast. Make sure to give us a like and share it with a friend if you're enjoying what you're watching. Check out the Facebook community, the My Inner Struggle Facebook community on Facebook.
On Facebook. Yeah, it's weird. The Facebook community is on Facebook. I like that.
On Instagram, and check out the blog on myinnerstruggle.com. And we will see you next week.
Have a great week, everybody.